Be me. 45. Principal of public high school in suburban Michigan. PhD in educational leadership. Been in education for 22 years. Principal for past 4 years at Lincoln High School. 1,200 students, 85 teachers, diverse suburban community. Work my way up from English teacher to department head to AP to principal. Always been progressive, always pushed for equity and inclusion. First woman principal in this district's 50-year history. Proud of changes I've implemented since taking over. New curriculum focusing on social justice and equity. Mandatory training for all staff on bias and microaggressions. Restorative justice discipline instead of traditional consequences. Gender-neutral bathrooms, pronouns in email signatures. Expanded diversity initiatives, equity teams, safe spaces. District loves the optics, won awards for progressive policies. Most inclusive school district in the state. Top 10 schools for social justice education. Board showcases our transformation at every meeting. My leadership team is all women, all progressive, all aligned. We meet weekly to discuss new equity initiatives, to identify problematic behaviors and address them, to make this school a model of inclusive education. This year's big initiative, Equity in Education Framework. Complete overhaul of grading, discipline, and hiring practices, eliminating practices that perpetuate systemic inequities. Making sure every student feels seen and valued. Today is our monthly all-staff faculty meeting. Mandatory attendance. All 85 teachers in the auditorium, plus support staff, counselors, administrators. I'm presenting the new framework, excited to share. Walk to the podium, look out at the faculty. Younger teachers sit up front, engaged and supportive. They're mostly women, mostly new, mostly aligned with my vision. Older teachers sit in back rows, mostly silent. Many of them men, been here 20 to 30 years. They look tired, skeptical, arms crossed. Begin presentation with slides about equity and justice. Thank you all for being here today. I'm excited to announce our Equity in Education Framework. This will transform how we teach, assess, and support students. Click to first slide. Equitable grading practices. We're eliminating traditional grading that perpetuates inequity. No more zeros. No more late penalties. No more extra credit. Grades will reflect learning, not compliance or behavior. Some younger teachers nodding, taking notes. Older teachers exchanging glances, shifting in seats. Students can retake any assessment until they demonstrate mastery. No deadlines that privilege students with stable home environments. No penalties for late work that discriminate against working students. Click to next slide. Restorative justice expansion. We're eliminating traditional discipline entirely. No more detentions, no more suspensions. Everything handled through restorative circles and dialogue. More details about the changes to consequence system. When students engage in harmful behavior, we'll bring all parties together for healing conversation. Focus on repair and growth, not punishment. Next slide. Diverse hiring practices. We're implementing equity-based hiring protocols, prioritizing candidates from underrepresented groups. Diversity statements required for all positions, ensuring our staff reflects our student body. Show demographic slides comparing staff to students. Currently, our staff is 78% white. Students are 52% white. Staff is 65% female. Students are 51% female. We need to address these disparities. Final slides about mandatory training requirements. All staff will complete 30 hours of equity training this year. Topics include implicit bias, white privilege, microaggressions, culturally responsive teaching, anti-racism, inclusive practices. Finished presentation, feeling good about it. Any questions about the new framework? Hands go up from younger teachers, supportive questions. How can we incorporate this into lesson planning? Will there be resources for restorative circles? Can we get additional diversity training? Answer each one enthusiastically, great engagement. Then a hand goes up from the back, older section. Man in his late 50s, haven't seen him speak at meetings before. Name tag says Robert Mitchell. Don't know him well. Yes, go ahead, Robert. He stands slowly, looks around at other teachers. Robert Mitchell, I teach history here, been teaching for 33 years. His voice is firm, not aggressive, but not deferential. I have some questions about these new policies. Of course, that's what we're here for. He pulls out a notebook, has written notes. This equitable grading system, eliminating zeros and late penalties. How does that prepare students for college or careers, where deadlines matter and consequences exist? Feel defensive. This is typical resistance to change. We're prioritizing learning over compliance, helping students who face systemic barriers. He's not backing down, keep standing. I understand the intent, but what about the students who do turn working on time? Who manage their responsibilities despite challenges? What message does it send when there's no consequence for not trying? Some older teachers are nodding. Younger ones look uncomfortable. Robert, we're moving away from punitive systems toward supportive, growth-oriented approaches. He nods but continues, I teach AP history. AP exam is in May. Specific date can't be retaken. How do I prepare students for that deadline? If they've never had to meet a deadline in 4 years. Valid point, but missing bigger picture. We're developing mastery. That's what matters for AP, not artificial compliance with arbitrary timelines. Another teacher stands, woman in her 40s. I'm Patricia Chun. I teach English, been here 18 years. Don't know her well either. She's usually quiet. Can I ask about the restorative justice changes? Of course, Patricia. Last week, a student physically assaulted another student. Punched him in the face, broke his nose. Under the new policy, no suspension, just restorative circle. She's choosing words carefully, professionally. The victim's parents are furious. They feel their son wasn't protected, that the school prioritized the aggressor over the victim. This is about understanding restorative approach. Restorative justice focuses on healing all parties, not just punishing the person who caused harm. Patricia persists, but the aggressor is back in class, sitting next to the victim he assaulted, making the victim feel unsafe in his own classroom. How is that equitable for him? More teachers are shifting, paying attention. We work with both students to facilitate healing, to create space for accountability and growth. Robert speaks again, still standing. Principal Walsh, can I share what I'm seeing in my classroom? Don't really want to hear resistance, but can't refuse. Go ahead. He opens his notebook, has documented examples. I have 32 students in my AP history class. About half consistently do the work, meet deadlines, try hard. The other half have learned the system. They know they can turn in anything late with no penalty, that they can retake tests until they get desired grade. So they don't study, don't prepare, don't try the first time. He's getting more animated, clearly frustrated. The students who work hard watch the ones who don't, get the same opportunities, same grades eventually. And they're asking me why they bother trying. If there's no reward for effort and no consequence for lack of it. Some teachers are nodding, recognizing this. That's why we focus on mastery, Robert, not on compliance or arbitrary timelines. He shakes his head. It's not arbitrary. Discipline, time management, responsibility. These are life skills they need to develop. We're not teaching them that by removing all structure. Another teacher stands, older man, maybe 60. I'm James Washington, math teacher, 29 years here. Recognize him, old guard, resistant to change. I want to talk about the hiring practices you mentioned, about prioritizing underrepresented candidates. Here comes the resistance to diversity. Yes, we're committed to building diverse staff. James looks at the demographic slides still on screen. You said staff is 78% white, students are 52% white, and you want to address that disparity. Yes, We need staff that reflects our students. He nods slowly. What about the other disparities? Staff is 65% female. Students are 51% female. Are we going to address that by prioritizing male candidates? The question catches me off guard. That's different. We're addressing historical underrepresentation. But teaching is historically female-dominated. If we're fixing one disparity, why not the other? Several teachers murmur agreement. The context is different. The history is different. James persists. Or what about age diversity? Average teacher age here is now 34. 5 years ago, it was 42. We've lost half our experienced teachers in your tenure. The statistic surprises me. Didn't know that. Turnover happens. People retire. Not all retirement. Many left for other districts. Took positions elsewhere at same or lower pay. Because they couldn't work under these policies. Patricia speaks up again. I'm considering it too. Been here 18 years. Never thought I'd leave. But the constant training, the policy changes. The feeling that my experience doesn't matter. That everything I learned about teaching is now considered wrong. This is concerning, losing experienced teachers. Patricia, we value your experience. Do you though? She challenges. Because in the equity training last month, the facilitator said traditional teaching methods are oppressive, that they center whiteness and privilege. She's getting emotional now, voice shaking. I've spent 18 years developing my practice, building relationships with students, helping them succeed. But now I'm told my methods are problematic, that I'm perpetuating harm without realizing it. Robert adds, that training was required for all of us. 30 hours this year, you said. That's almost a week of instruction time. Time we're not teaching students, not grading papers, not planning lessons, or meeting with parents. James speaks, and the content of the training. 3 hours last month on white privilege. Being told that white teachers inherently oppress students of color, that our unconscious bias is harming kids. He's a black man. His perspective complicates the narrative. As a black man who's taught here 29 years, I found that training offensive and reductive. It assumed all white teachers are racist, and that all teachers of color are victims. Neither is true in my experience. Another teacher stands, young white woman, maybe 30. I'm Sarah Miller. I teach science, been here 5 years. Expected her to support me. She's young and progressive. I want to support the equity work, I really do, but I'm struggling with the implementation. This surprises me. She seemed aligned. What specifically are you struggling with? The grading policy, mostly. I teach chemistry. There are right and wrong answers. Students either understand stoichiometry or they don't. She's choosing words carefully, professionally. Under the new policy, students retake tests indefinitely. Some have taken the same test 5, 6, 7 times. I'm spending all my time reteaching and retesting, instead of moving forward with curriculum. Other science teachers are nodding agreement. The students who got it the first time are bored, waiting weeks for us to move on, while I reteach the same concept repeatedly to students who aren't studying between attempts. She sits down, clearly uncomfortable speaking up. Robert stand again, seems to be unofficial spokesperson. Principal Walsh, we're not against equity. We're not against supporting struggling students. We're against policies that don't work, that hurt the students they're meant to help. He looks around at his colleagues. Can I tell you what 33 years of teaching has taught me? Feel trapped. Can't say no in front of everyone. Go ahead. He's not reading from notes now, speaking from experience. Students need structure. They need expectations. They need to learn that choices have consequences. That effort matters. That discipline produces results. That success comes from work, not just from opportunities. His voice is getting passionate, emotional. When we eliminate accountability, we hurt students. We tell them that trying doesn't matter, that there's always another chance, no real stakes. Then they get to college and fail out, because no professor will let them retake exams 7 times. He's looking directly at me now. or they get jobs and get fired. Because employers expect deadlines to be met, expect effort and responsibility. Things we're no longer teaching them. Patricia stands again, adds to his point. And the discipline policies, the restorative justice. I support the philosophy, I understand the research. But the implementation is failing our students. She pulls out her phone, shows something. I've documented 23 classroom disruptions this month. Students who know there are no consequences, who walk out of restorative circles and do it again, while other students can't learn. Another teacher stands, younger man, maybe 35. I'm David Torres. I could teach social studies, 8 years here. Also expected him to be supportive. He's younger. The restorative circles take hours. Hours I don't have that I should spend teaching. And honestly, most students don't take them seriously. They say what they need to say and nothing changes. He looks frustrated, exhausted. I had a student skip my class 15 times this semester. Each time, restorative circle, conversation about accountability. He nods, agrees to do better, then skips again. No consequence, no reason to actually change. James speaks again, and the impact on other students. The ones who show up every day, who try hard. They watch students face no consequences. They're learning that rules don't matter, effort doesn't matter. Robert adds another dimension. What about the teachers? We're exhausted, we're demoralized, we're leaving. You mentioned diversity in hiring. But you're driving away experienced teachers, replacing them with new teachers who burn out in 3 years. He gestures to the younger teachers in front. No offense to our newer colleagues, but there's no substitute for experience, for the wisdom that comes from years in the classroom. We're losing that institutional knowledge. Patricia speaks emotionally now. I love teaching. It's all I've ever wanted to do. But I dread coming to work now. Dread the trainings telling me I'm problematic. Dread the policy changes that undermine my practice. Dread watching students fail because we've removed all structure. She's crying now, 18 years of frustration pouring out. I used to think I was good at this, that I helped kids, made a difference. Now I feel like everything I do is wrong, that I'm harming students just by being myself. Several other teachers are emotional too. This is not going how I planned at all. Robert speaks again, voice firm but not angry. Principal Walsh, we know you mean well. We know you believe these policies will help students. But we're telling you from experience, they're not working. He looks around at the faculty. We've taught thousands of students over decades. We've seen what works and what doesn't. And these policies don't work. They hurt students. They drive away teachers. They create chaos instead of equity. James adds, you talk about evidence-based practices, about research and best practices, but you ignore our evidence, our experience. Dismiss us as resistant to change, as stuck in old ways, as part of the problem. He's getting more passionate, voice rising. I've taught in this district for 29 years. I've taught rich kids and poor kids, black kids, white kids, every kind of kid. I know what they need, and it's not this. Another teacher stands, woman in her 50s, don't know her. Margaret Lewis, English teacher, 25 years. Can I say something about the training requirements? Nod, unable to stop this now. 30 hours of equity training this year. On top of curriculum changes, new grading systems, new discipline procedures, new everything. When do we actually teach? She's looking at me with something like desperation. I'm 57 years old. I have arthritis. I'm exhausted. I used to love this job. Now I can barely get through the day. Not because of the students, because of the requirements. Because everything about teaching has been made harder. Robert speaks one more time. Final statement. We're not asking you to abandon equity. We're not saying disparities don't exist. We're asking you to listen to us, to our experience, to what we're seeing, to the evidence that these specific policies aren't working. He looks directly at me, everyone waiting. We're asking you to include teacher voice in decisions, to value our decades of experience, to consider that maybe, just maybe, we know something about education too. The room is completely silent, all eyes on me. My leadership team looks uncomfortable, unsure how to help. The younger teachers look confused, conflicted. The older teachers are united, waiting for response. Feel completely unprepared for this moment. All my training, all my certainty feels inadequate. I hear what you're saying, all of you. My voice is shaking, feel defensive and overwhelmed. These are important concerns that deserve consideration. Robert speaks gently now. That's what you always say. Then you implement the policies anyway, because you've already decided we're wrong. He's right, that is what I do. This time will be different. I promise to really listen. James shakes his head. We need more than promises. We need actual changes, actual input. We need you to pause these policies until we can have real conversation about what works. Feel trapped between my vision and their resistance. I can't just abandon the equity framework. Patricia stands, voice firm through tears. Then you'll lose more of us. I've already applied to 2 other districts. Robert is interviewing next week. James is considering early retirement. She looks around at her colleagues. At least 15 teachers I know are looking to leave. Not because we don't care about students, because we can't work under these conditions anymore. The superintendent is going to kill me. Can't afford to lose 15 experienced teachers. What do you want from me, specifically? Robert speaks for the group. They've clearly discussed this. Pause the new grading policy pending teacher input. Revise discipline procedures to include some accountability. Make training voluntary or reduce the hours required. Include experienced teachers in policy decisions. And stop treating our concerns as resistance to equity. The demands are reasonable but feel like defeat. I need to think about this, discuss with leadership team. James speaks firmly. How long have we been telling you these things? How many surveys, how many meetings, how many conversations? You've had years to listen. You chose not to. Now we're telling you publicly, in front of everyone. Either you listen now or we leave. Feel tears threatening. This is devastating. I'll schedule meetings with department representatives. We'll review the policies together, get your input. Robert nods, but doesn't sit. When? Next week, I'll set it up by Friday. And what about the policies already implemented? Will you pause them or continue while we discuss? Feel cornered, losing control completely. I'll pause the new grading rollout, pending the review process. Collective exhale from the older teachers. And the training hours Patricia asks. I'll reduce to 15 hours, make some optional. More relief visible in the room. And discipline, James asks. We'll create hybrid approach, some accountability with restorative. Robert finally sits, other teachers follow. Thank you for listening, finally. Meeting adjourns awkwardly. Teachers file out. Younger teachers approach me, concerned. Are you backing down from equity work? Just pausing to get teacher input. They look disappointed, expecting me to hold firm. Older teachers leave in a group, supporting each other, united in a way I've never seen before. My leadership team stays behind, looking worried. That was rough, my AP says. They basically revolted against the equity framework. Feel defensive and defeated simultaneously. They raised valid concerns about implementation. But the framework is sound, the research supports it. She's right, but so were they. That evening, can't stop replaying Robert's words. We know what they need, and it's not this. Think about his 33 years of experience. About Patricia's 18 years, James's 29 years. About the collective wisdom in that room that I've been dismissing as resistance. Pull up teacher retention data. James was right. We've lost half our experienced teachers. Greater than 15 left last year, 12 the year before. New hires average 3.2 years before leaving. We're cycling through teachers constantly. Look at student achievement data. Since implementing equity policies 2 years ago, test scores are down across the board. College readiness metrics declining. AP pass rates dropping. Discipline incidents actually increasing. The data doesn't support the policies. but I was so sure the research was right. Spend the weekend reading teacher survey comments. From the anonymous feedback I've been collecting, feel like my experience doesn't matter anymore. Constantly told my teaching methods are oppressive. Students have learned to game the system. No consequences means no learning. Exhausted from constant training that doesn't help. Page after page of concerns I dismissed. As resistance, as unwillingness to change. As privilege protecting itself. Never considered they might actually be right. Monday morning, meet with my leadership team. All women, all progressive, all aligned with my vision. I think we need to seriously reconsider the policies. They look shocked, expected me to hold firm. The teachers raised valid points Friday. About implementation, about student outcomes, about teacher retention and exhaustion. My AP challenges, so we abandon equity work. Because some teachers are uncomfortable. No, but maybe we've implemented it poorly. Maybe we need to include teacher voice more. Another administrator speaks. They're resistant to change. This is what happens with transformation. People push back because it threatens the status quo. Used to believe that completely. But Robert's face keeps coming back. Patricia crying after 18 years of dedication. James questioning whether to retire early. What if it's not resistance? I say quietly. What if they're right that the policies aren't working? The room goes quiet. No one knows how to respond. Spend next 2 weeks in meetings with teacher representatives. Robert, Patricia, James, and others. Going through each policy, hearing their concerns. Actually listening this time, not just defending. They're reasonable, thoughtful, experienced. They want equity too, just different implementation. They want structure with support. Consequences with compassion. High expectations with scaffolding. Not the removal of all standards in name of equity. 3 months later, we've revised everything. Grading still focuses on mastery, but includes accountability. Deadlines with support, retakes with limits. Discipline includes restorative practices and consequences. Training reduced and made relevant to actual teaching. Teacher input required for all major policy decisions. The young progressive teachers aren't happy. Say I've compromised on equity, sold out to resistance. Some leave for more progressive districts. But student outcomes start improving. Discipline incidents decreasing. Teacher retention stabilizing. Experienced teachers staying, engaging, teaching. 1 year after that faculty meeting, Robert stops by my office, first time voluntarily. Wanted to thank you for actually listening, for being willing to change course. Feel grateful and humbled. Thank you for having courage to speak up, for pushing back even when it was risky. He smiles, tired but genuine. You know what's different now? Teachers feel valued again, feel heard, feel like our experience matters. That's what I should have created from the start. TFW veteran teacher confronts you about policies. TFW he asks how eliminating accountability prepares students. TFW 33 years of experience challenges your framework. TFW experienced teachers threaten to leave en masse. TFW you've lost half your experienced staff in 4 years. TFW teacher surveys show exhaustion and demoralization. TFW student outcomes decline under equity policies. TFW you realize experience matters more than ideology. TFW you have to completely revise everything you implemented. TFW including teacher voice saves the school. Still believe in equity and inclusion. Still think disparities need addressing. Still advocate for all students. But now understand that includes listening to teachers. That experience and wisdom matter. That good intentions don't justify failed outcomes. That real equity includes accountability. Robert taught me that with his courage. Patricia with her tears after 18 years. James with his 29 years of perspective. All the teachers who spoke up publicly, risking their jobs to demand better. They saved the school I was destroying, with policies that sounded good, but didn't work in practice. Now we build together, not impose from above. Now we value experience, not just ideology. Now we measure success by outcomes. not by how progressive policies sound. That's what leadership should be. What mine finally became, after a veteran teacher confronted me in front of the entire faculty and forced me to finally listen to experience I'd been dismissing as resistance to progress, when it was actually wisdom. That could have saved us years of failure if I'd listened sooner. Better late than never.